welcome to the Guitar Dads Podcast, a podcast for guitar people by guitar dads. This week, is this band actually going to make love in an elevator again, or are their fans just crying? Matt and Dave come down with the blues, but don't worry, Slash is there to console them. Satan medals at the Olympics, and here we go again with ridiculous prices. It actually is germanium this week on the Guitar Dads Podcast. Now the dudes who will never be overhyped, Matt and Dave.
Hello, everybody. I'm Matt.
I'm Dave. Welcome to the show. Welcome in. What's up, man? It's been a little while.
Welcome in. Welcome. Yeah, we're not recording in our normal time, so it's a little bit after. Dave and I were hanging out last night. There was a little bit too much drinking on my part.
So not everybody. Oh, my part. So if we're a little off today, you'll understand why.
You'll understand why. But
it's been a drinking weekend.
We had some good times drinking, so that's what it is.
All right. Well, thank you to our loyal listeners. And if you are just joining us for the first time, please come back next week. You can find us over at Guitar Dads Podcast on Instagram and come join the favorite. Yeah, hopefully your favorite group on Facebook. The Facebook group at Guitar Dads Podcast over there as well. Same thing over on X, Threads, all those social stuff, YouTube. And of course, if you want to support the show, head over to patreon.com/Guitar Dads Podcast, where if you sign up for a certain tier, you will get extra content. And every week we bring you a new episode. So head over there if you want to support the show. And a big thank you to our current patrons. You guys make this thing possible, and we couldn't do it without you. There you go. All right.
Yeah, let's roll.
Right. All right, let's go. Where are we going? Let's hit the Dataverse.
Into the data. Whoa. So loud in my ears. It's all right.
That's how you know we're there.
That's right. I mean, it is a rocket ship, so.
So I said in the intro, this kind of made news in the music world when Gojira hit the opening games.
Yeah, it was cool.
It was very cool. It was, and I kind of dig their music, so I thought it was really cool. If you missed it, go check it out. I'm sure you can find it anywhere. You're
not gonna lie, you enjoy their music.
I do. I actually do. I do like a little bit of their music. Yeah. Not nice. Everything, but yeah, it's cool. And they, they're also a cool band too. They do a lot of like philanthropic work and activism and that kind of thing. So they do a lot of stuff behind the scenes. That's very cool. So there's that. But if you didn't see the opening ceremonies, it was definitely a different opening ceremonies. The Olympics going on right now, of course, in France. And it was kind of like this, like everything was all French themed, obviously. And this particular performance was, I think it had a lot of like, French history and other stuff in it, but it was totally taken the wrong way by a lot of people who just don't get metal. And there was like, Marie Antoinette and the beheadings and all this stuff. And, and here comes Gojira. They're up on these balconies on this like castle looking. I don't even know.
Yeah, I saw some clips of that. I didn't see the whole thing, but I don't know what the context was. But yeah, I saw it. Yeah. And so what are people saying?
So yeah, people were saying like, what is this, like, satanic like worship at the Olympics? I mean, come on,
it's like metal, and then they automatically think satanic. That
goes
back to like the imagery, Black Sabbath. Yeah,
in the imagery that they had for but Joe Duplantier, the singer, had to kind of explain everything. Like, no, this is all like French history and the Revolution and everything else, and this is how it was being portrayed. It's certainly not satanic. So anyway,
I know, but it was pretty cool to see guitar players, see like a modern metal band, how they brought that into the opening ceremonies. I thought it's kind of a cool thing that they featured a band like that. I think it was cool. There was a lot of weird stuff in the opening ceremonies. Apparently a lot of people didn't quite understand, but I feel like the opening, like, aren't all Olympic opening ceremonies like that? A lot of artsy stuff. Right?
It's all artsy stuff.
Yeah.
But and I understand people's gripe with this one. But for me, it was a little bit better than watching like a bunch of people walk into a stadium and then you have a bunch of like shows going on. So I don't know.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I guess that's true. Yeah, it was definitely a different approach that they did it on the river and all that, and the performances were on there. Yeah, it was cool. I thought it was interesting,
Yeah,
But
it
yeah, I
was
thought pretty
interesting. It was
cool
cool.
to feature a metal band. Pretty
Yeah, and they
cool.
were playing live, so there you
Yeah.
go. They were
Yeah, I
as far
mean,
as
were they? I mean, that's the thing. Were they really? Maybe, maybe not. But either way,
that's
it's
what they
pretty
said.
cool.
That's what
They
they
said,
said.
oh, they actually said that they were. Oh, okay,
Yep.
great.
Yeah, they
There
said
you
they
go.
were.
How awesome.
Um, so I don't know if anybody has heard otherwise. Send us an email at guitar dads pod or at guitar dads podcast at gmail if you want to and get on the
Yeah.
mailing list. By the way, we do now have a new
Oh,
mailing list.
yeah.
So
We have a mailing list if you
yeah,
want to
so
be
come
on
on.
it. Yeah.
We'll let you know of show announcements and things like that, and maybe some giveaway announcements. When we do those, you'll be the first to know, so you won't want to miss those. We've already done a few. Um, but yeah, there you go.
Nice.
So, moving on from the Olympic ceremonies to so apparently John Mayer injured his index finger, I think on his left hand, if I'm not mistaken. Now I got to look this up, but on one of his hand, and he's still going to go forward and play with Dead and Company with three fingers instead of
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. So what did he do
So
to his finger? Like, what's going on?
I'm going to look this up now. John Mayer finger injury, because I read this last week, and here we are recording a few days later. His finger is out of commission after an injury. This is out of People. He was practicing. He's been practicing guitar using the only other three. Let's see.
Do we know which finger it is?
Yeah, the index finger on his left hand.
Oh,
He hit. Oh, he lost
jeez.
it. He busted it in a door. Oh,
Oh,
interesting. A
wow.
truck door.
I could say you could get away with the pinky, but
Yep.
the index, that's really difficult. But I
Really,
guess
really
maybe
difficult.
not. Like maybe you could figure things out. The worst would be the ring in the middle, right? Those would be the worst fingers. The
Yeah, you'd be
index would
pretty
be
much
very
screwed.
difficult. Yeah, the index would be very difficult, but the pinky, yeah, I guess the pinky and index are kind of secondary. And
Yeah.
because he does those Hendrix chords, which means he doesn't really hold regular bar chords. He does the wraparound with the thumb. So maybe because he uses his thumb so much, he doesn't need his index. So maybe he's going to be just fine.
Yeah, and he'll figure out different ways of playing those chords. But this is Dead and Company too, so he's not going to be,
Oh yeah,
he's not going to be like play certain things. He won't need to have in his arsenal, so he kind of
yeah, it's
probably
Dead and
he probably get
Company.
around
Yeah,
it pretty easily.
so he's just going to play the same scales over and over and over again. That's
Yeah,
fine.
exactly. Yeah. Uh, all right. Should we get to the big news?
Yeah, the big news dropped the other day on Friday. This dropped right about
Yeah,
Aerosmith.
Friday, a couple days ago, Aerosmith
Yeah.
has made the heartbreaking decision to retire from touring.
Wow.
And because of Steven Tyler's vocal injury, he just can't rehab it.
Yep.
And
Yep.
this is pretty disappointing to me. I mean, I'm a mega fan. Aerosmith's my favorite band.
You always have been.
And we were talking yesterday. I kind of got to thinking, like, if you had to rank, we hate lists, but we always do them because they're kind of fun sometimes. But if you had to rank like the best bands ever, does longevity play a role? It's got to, right?
Oh yeah, I think it totally plays a role that they've been able to do what they did for as long as they did, right? But yeah, I mean, look, I mean, what a run, especially like what a touring run, right? That they had. I mean, they've just, they just went on and on and on, and you got to give them credit because this isn't like Kiss, like saying, oh, it's going to be one more farewell tour, like we always joke about, like, oh, it's a farewell tour until people want them back,
Till
and they
next
do
time.
another farewell tour, and this isn't that. This really is. They're just saying they can't do it and he can't tour and it's over, because I think they called this whole tour the Peace Out tour, right, where they
Yeah.
did actually announce it as a farewell tour.
And I do think
And
it was
yeah,
going to be a farewell tour.
yeah,
I really do.
yeah, but then one show in or whatever, Steven Tyler blows out his vocal cords to the point where he was bleeding, by the way, which just sounds horrible.
Yeah,
So it's not hard to believe that, yeah, this guy's not going to be able to keep up a touring schedule singing anymore. So it's sad, but geez,
Yep.
what a run that
What a
these
run.
guys had, right? So, but it's like, we compare the Stones, you know, and Mick Jagger is kind of like a freak of nature. We just have to admit it. But at the same time, his vocal style is nothing like Steven Tyler's.
Not even close.
Right? Not even kind of like talks through a lot of songs, you know. So, you know, nothing against Mick. I think Mick's incredible, and I love a lot of the Stones stuff. And I'll actually, you know, since I've been playing in a band where we do a couple of Stones songs, it's not as easy to sing as you think it is. What he does, but it's not anywhere near what Steven Tyler was doing, right?
No,
so
it's not the screaming like every night and what he was able to do for 50 plus years. It's just pretty insane.
I mean, really, completely insane. Like you could think of Steven Tyler as like the Tom Brady of singing, right?
Yeah.
It's just kind of like, you know, like freakishly good, like, and just dedicated to it in that way, and being able to keep it up for as long as he did, longer than most can and do.
So that, speaking of Tom Brady, does that make, I don't think so, but does that make Aerosmith the GOAT, right? The greatest of all time? I think an argument can be made. I can't make it personally as much as I want to, because they're my favorite band, but I can't say that they're the greatest of all time, but I definitely think an argument could be made because of the longevity, because what Steven Tyler was able to do, because of their impact on music over the years, and just all the craziness. Yeah, they went through a breakup period for about 5 years in the 80s, and Joe Perry was gone, and I think Brad Whitford was too, wasn't he? I can't remember now. And they put out that mediocre album, "Rockin' a Hard Place," which it's okay. But then they came back and better than ever, and that's when they put out, "Done with Mirrors" and "Pump" and "Permanent Vacation," and then "Pump," and then "Forget It." It all just blew up with "Get a Grip" in the early 90s. So they had like a second coming. It was kind of like a renaissance period for them at that point, like a second renaissance period for them at that point, because they were on the top of they had been on the top of the world, and then they broke up. And then, or kind of, a couple of members left, and then they kind of got back together, and boom, there they went. So I don't know.
I mean, if I'm honest, right? Like I always knew about Aerosmith. I knew about Dream On. I knew they had like a legacy, but I didn't really start to listen to them until that Get a Grip album, right? Like I remember they were when we were kids, right, Dave? They were all over MTV with
Oh yeah, everywhere.
What was the Pump album? Like you just
Loving an Elevator,
Loving an Elevator, and
What It Takes, and
all those awesome songs. And I was a fan and I really liked it. But then I think it was really that Get a Grip that just put them through the absolute stratosphere, right? With Alicia Silverstone and those videos, like it just didn't get any better. Like it was like you said, they were already kind of on top of the world, and that just threw them through it, right? Like into the stratosphere, right? So, and you're right, amazing they were able to do it later in their career like that, right? And come up with those set of songs, and have this hook up with whoever they hooked up with to get Alicia Silverstone, and make those videos that just were like the biggest things and were played nonstop. I mean, it's amazing. Think of what they did, and then they continue to have these hits. Like, what was the big song that we hated to hear them play? The freaking Armageddon song.
Oh yeah, Don't Want to Miss a Thing. That wasn't even theirs. That wasn't.
Yeah, I know they didn't even write it, but it was a giant hit for them, right? Giant. So the fact that they were able to do that and reinvent themselves, and it's kind of unbelievable what a run they had.
Yeah, it really is. And that album, like gets a lot of there are a lot of critics that bash, the Crying, Crazy.
Oh yeah. Because it isn't like classic rock, it's the same type of thing. Yeah.
Well, no, because it's like the same chord progression, and then people that you see videos all the time on YouTube where they put the songs up against each other and like show that it's like the same chord progression, the same rhythm, all same tempo, and all that stuff, and it's kind of not. You know what I would say to you people who are critics of that? Go do it yourself and see if you can be that popular. So there you go.
Write 3 hit songs.
You go write those songs.
See how you do it. People say the same thing about AC/DC. It's like,
that's right.
You go do it.
So easy. 3 chords, 4 chords. Oh, nice and easy. Go write a hit song. Let's see what you can do.
That's right. Yeah. It's whatever it is. they had it, and it was really a lot of fun to watch and see them on the tours over the years. You know what this means, though, Dave? This means we did actually go to their last show in Boston. That ever
That's
was
right.
going to happen.
Yep.
So at Fenway Park 2 years ago, right?
It was a great show. It was a great show.
Yeah. Yeah, you can go back and listen to our review of that show on this podcast, actually.
Yeah,
we weren't thrilled with it overall. It was overall a fun, great show. But overall, we were like, these guys have lost a step or two, right?
They haven't. That on top of the sound at Fenway is not great.
Sound at
so
Fenway,
that does impact it.
But it was still overall.
It was a great show.
Overall, it was
Steven Tyler up on the Green Monster. And
it was great.
Dream On up there. It's crazy.
The fact that we were there to witness that, and now that they've announced this is great. It's amazing.
Yeah, well, good for them. Good for them.
I know, good for them.
Matt, I just want to take a little bit of time out and tell you that this episode of the Guitar Dads podcast is sponsored by none other than Copper Sound pedals. And you guys, listeners of this pod, know about Copper Sound. Boutique.
Some of you have
company.
Been buying them.
Yes,
using the code. Continue to do that. It helps out everybody.
Yep. Yeah. Helps out the show. It definitely helps out Alex and the gang over at Copper Sound doing some great stuff right here in Massachusetts. And today we are putting the spotlight on the Renegade. This is a simple no frills fuzz pedal. I mean, who doesn't like no frills fuzz? I think fuzz is challenging to dial in sometimes. And this is the opposite of that. This is just, plug and go.
Yeah.
No frills fuzz pedal with a compact and straightforward interface. It derived originally from the classic Tone Bender and Mark 1.5. Renegade strays off the standard path in part due to its integrated bias control. And this toggle switch allows the player to easily select between the two different bias voltages, therefore resulting in a classic full-bodied fuzz tone in the up position and a more modern gated fuzz in the down position. Less talk, more rock is the philosophy here. And as a bonus for our listeners, as Matt said, go to Copper Sound Pedals website. When you order your favorite pedal from them, whether it's the Kingpin or the Foxcatcher or this Renegade, type in your code DADS10 and you're going to get 10% off. Go do it.
Yeah. How great is that?
Amazing. Go check out Copper Sound Pedals, and we really appreciate Alex and the dudes over there working, night and day, and even through floods and everything else. And they do it all.
They're doing a great job, and the Renegade is great, like Dave said. Like Dave read there, it's a no frills, and it sounds great. It's a mini pedal, so you can squeeze it in your board, put it wherever you want. I used to not be a fan of mini pedals, and then I started putting together boards to actually play gigs. And I was like, oh my God, this is very convenient because I can squeeze this thing on here. So it's great. Really simple, one knob, like Dave said. It's great.
Yep. Turn it on and go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there you go. Copper Sound. See, this joke of the week is brought to you by none of you guys. You guys didn't send us a joke this week, although we haven't necessarily been asking either.
Yeah, that's true. We haven't been pushing the dad. We haven't done a dad joke in a couple weeks because we had some guests and just didn't get around to it. But that means you have to have a good one now.
Yeah, we do have a good one this week. I heard the news today. A truck carrying a load of Vicks Vapor Rub overturned on the highway. Well, good news. There was no congestion for 8 hours. Excellent.
Oh,
excellent,
that is a good
joke.
One. That lives up to the dad joke hype.
It deserves more than a clap. Come on, people. A little more than a clap.
Come on.
There we go.
We're the dads. We don't often talk about dad stuff. Even though this is the Guitar Dads, and then so we give you a little taste of it. So there you go.
All right. Well, there you go.
All right.
What else are we gonna do? Should we go into our headliner of the show?
Yeah, we went to an awesome show the other night, And let's talk about it. It was, wait for it, Slash. So
Yes, but not Slash like you know him.
yeah, not Slash like you know him. So Slash, we talked about it a little bit on the podcast. Maybe it was on a Patreon. I don't know if we talked about it on the main, but he came out with a blues album, an album of blues covers. You know, debatable whether it's really blues the way he plays them.
Well,
but
there's blues undertones.
But there's, you know, it's a cover of classic blue, a cover album of classic blues songs. A lot of great singers on it, including Chris Robinson, Chris Stapleton. Any other Chris's? I don't know.
Any other Chris's?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
Iggy Pop sings on
Iggy
it.
Pop.
Beth Hart. If you're kind of into Slash and into that kind of stuff, and you know, I would say check it out. But he's doing a tour supporting this album, and what's awesome about it, he's calling it the Serpent Festival Tour, and it's a festival in that he has at least three blues acts along with him that kind of open the show. And this show,
and that's where we ran into some problems.
Yeah, and this show, the acts were Robert Randolph, who plays
amazing,
just an amazing pedal steel player, just a different flavor of blues that he's doing. That's just awesome. ZZ Ward, which is a female artist I've never heard of.
Oh, you haven't heard of ZZ Ward?
Well, maybe yeah. I've heard of her, but I haven't really listened to her. Like I knew that she was around. Great singer, great songs that she's got.
Great vocals, at least when her mic was on.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. And then it was Keb Mo, which you guys know, just a classic guy that's been around the blues scene for a long time, who just, I don't know, Dave, this guy, he kind of blew the roof off the place, in my opinion.
I mean, we oftentimes with guitar, and especially with blues, we talk about feel.
Yeah.
I mean, he's one of those guys that just defines it, you know?
Yeah. He just
has it.
He just has it, and he's got the voice. You know, I was kind of a little bit more blown away by his singing and the feel of his voice. You know, his more so than his guitar. I mean, his guitar playing is fantastic. Like you said, it's all about the feel, but he's definitely not one of those kind of like flashy blues players. He's not one of those guys, which I think is great, because that's great and all, but you don't always want that. So
no, and you can say a lot more on the guitar with this by saying less.
That's right. He's definitely one of those kind of blues players, which in a world where we love like the shred, right? And because that's really what's going on. If we're really honest about what's going on with Slash on this blues record, it's like Slash kind of shredding to blues songs, right?
Pretty much.
It's kind of like that.
It is.
And Slash isn't like a shred player the way that like Steve Vai or Satriani are, but he has his own kind of style of really fast playing that he likes to do. And it was fun. It was a lot of fun. But I don't know.
With Keb Mo though, start. Nothing says blues like playing a PRS through a Mesa Boogie.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So just talk about that for a little bit. Yeah. Start there.
Should we go backwards? Start with the good stuff, because there was some kind of awkward stuff to talk through.
Yeah. So Keb Mo, first of all, he comes out here with this band that is just kicking ass. A guy with the full Hammonds setup, just sounded unbelievably good. The drummer, the bassist, they were all just kind of killing it. He had a second guitarist with him, and I'm not going to remember the kid's name. Younger gentleman.
Oh,
he was
from Massachusetts.
Apparently from Massachusetts. Unbelievably good. He had a couple of the solos, and he kind of tore the roof down when he played his solos. He was really good.
Oh yeah.
It was the whole thing, the feel of it, the arrangements of the songs, the way that the band played together, just really, really great. And like I said, his songs and his style, just so much fun. But yeah, he played a PRS. He has this kind of semi-hollow PRS, look like a red and black kind of burst, look like a satin finish on it, if I'm not mistaken.
And we don't, as far as we know, we don't think it's a signature model, because we dug through the interwebs and couldn't find anything during the show. So
so we don't know. But it was a 3 pickup. It looked like an HSH. Am I right about that? I don't really remember. I'd have to look up some pictures.
Yeah, I'd have to look at the pictures again. Let me do that.
I think it was an HSH PRS, but he was playing through what appeared to be a Mesa, some kind of Mesa combo amp. And it sounded great. It sounded really good. His
Yeah,
second guitarist appeared to be playing through, what was it, Dave? A deluxe? Like a
I think it was
deluxe?
deluxe.
Yeah,
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 looked like a
deluxe is
deluxe.
probably
Maybe
what it
yeah, it was a
was.
deluxe.
Sounded great. Like the tones were just dead on. But yeah, to Dave's point, you don't really expect a PRS and a Mesa. You expect that out of Creed and Mark Tremonti and the rest of his
Right.
bands. You don't necessarily. But I don't know exactly what combo he was playing. Whether it was like a Fillmore or one of those other combos. It definitely what wasn't like that California, um, whatever that the California blonde one that Mesa has. It wasn't that. It was black. You know, it was like a silver um, speaker covering cloth and like a black panel. So I don't know. You guys could probably look it up and tell me exactly what it was. But
And there was another guitar he Kemo was playing that we don't know what it is. We
oh
maybe
yeah,
we'll post
mystery
this picture
guitar.
in the group. Mystery guitar. I'm gonna post this in the group, so go check that out because if you know what this thing is, let us know. It looked really cool. It was like a I mean, how would you describe the shape? It almost looked like a I, I don't even know. What it had like
I don't
a
even
how
know either.
I don't even know how to describe the shape. I got to pull up the picture just to kind of remind
Was it
myself, but it had like
somewhat
this
telly-ish, if I'm not
it was
mistaken?
kind of telly-ish. Yeah, it
Yeah.
looked like almost like a telly-ish meets like a it has like that bottom like horn is a little pointy and the top it was that it's I really can't describe it. But we couldn't zoom in enough on the headstock to figure out what it said.
Yeah.
Um looked really cool though. So if you guys know what that is, let us know. I'm going to post that in the group in a little bit. Um but yeah, an all-around good show.
Yeah, all around great show
So
from Keb and the gang.
yeah.
I'm on Kebmo equipment board, and I don't see that guitar. We looked at, like Dave said, we looked at this during the show. He did play his Resonator, which looks like it's called a National
Oh, that
Lasso
thing
Rocket,
sounded cool.
is what it's
Yeah, it
called.
sounded
And
great.
of course, he's doing that with the slide. Sounded amazing. It just sounded so good, and he does so well with that style too. Sounded great. Um, oh, here. Well, actually, this was not what he was playing. Here it
You're
says
looking
it's
at
a
the
Mesa.
PRS.
No, the Mesa. They say it's a
Oh,
Mark
the amp.
Five 35 combo. That was not what was up there. He must be playing a
No,
different type of Mesa now. Um, and so he's been known to play a Hamer. We didn't see the Hamer Monaco. We did not see that up there with him. Like Dave said, there was this mystery guitar, and we didn't know what it was.
don't know what it is. I'll have to figure it out.
Anyway,
Um,
great time, great show. Oh, and the second guitarist he had there, the guy, he was playing, like we said, playing deluxe, but he was playing a telly the whole time. Like,
yeah.
looked like a straight up American telly of some kind. So
Now, if we talk
and
about ZZ
butterscotch.
Ward, it was butterscotch. If we talk
Yeah.
about ZZ Ward for a second,
Yeah, talk about ZZ Ward.
let's just be honest. I mean, it was a good set when you could hear everything. I mean, I
Yeah,
don't
they
understand.
struggled.
I don't know if the same sound engineer was being used for the whole tour for the whole show, or if they all brought their I don't know how all that stuff works. I don't
But
pretend
there
to
was,
even
I
know.
mean, let's just talk about the obvious issues that were happening. They didn't
Yeah.
have her vocal mic dialed in enough. So at one point
No,
she's
sometimes
singing.
not even on.
At one
Yeah.
point she's singing, you can barely hear her, and then they go and like, oh, and then they kind of must have scrambled and fixed it. At one point she's playing the harmonica, and she has like one of those harmonica microphones, just completely not even turned on.
Couldn't hear it. Nope.
So it took them a couple of seconds, probably 30 seconds or so to get that on.
I mean, I gotta say that it's kind of embarrassing, right?
Yeah,
This is
for that big
this
of
is
a
the
show.
professional tour.
Yeah.
You know?
For that big of a show, they're doing enough dates with these same acts. You would think that they would get their act together for these kind of supporting acts. It's kind of embarrassing, as a production to do that, and it does them a big disservice as well. Right?
Huge.
So,
yeah, huge disservice.
It's not fair to them. So, but anyway,
but she's great. Go check her out.
She has a great voice.
If you don't know ZZ Ward,
yeah, she has a great voice. But Dave, talk about, so she had a guitarist with her that Dave and I didn't know what was going on with the tone. And at first we thought like, oh, maybe it's
yeah. I had a word for it. Now I can't remember what I had come up with. or the phrase for
It was
what did
like
I
this.
say?
It was like this lo-fi tone, and look,
Yeah.
lo-fi tone is a thing that people go
Yep.
for. So that's why I was convinced like that's what he was going for. He was playing a Strat, and it was
Playing a
just this
Strat.
very thin, extremely thin lo-fi tone. At one point, he was using a fuzz, and we thought like,
Yeah,
oh, maybe
that
he's
sounded
just
like he was playing through a busted speaker that with
yeah,
like a. It was just
yeah.
not, but it didn't match. It didn't jive well with the music.
No, it didn't
You
at all.
know,
It didn't at all. Yeah, it
like
didn't at
this
all.
is not, to, in my humble opinion, this is just not the sound that my ears wanted to hear. I think is
Yeah,
probably a nicer way to say it. Like I wanted to hear those Strat tones. Maybe
yeah,
a little bit of fuzz would have been fine, but those scratchy kind of. It almost had like that feel, like when your cable isn't in all the way, like that kind
yeah,
of,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
it's don't know what was going on, and maybe it was the soundboard. Something was going on over there. I don't know.
It could have been,
Um,
but like it was consistently that kind of sound the whole time. So to me, it was like, something's going on here. This is this guy's tone. It's just not dialed in. It just doesn't translate well. Good player. You could tell the guy was a good player.
Great player.
Um,
Yeah.
but it was like, it was kind of like left a little something to be desired. So anyway,
So fix your tone, dude.
and
And
then
then of
Robert
course, what can we?
Randolph.
I mean, he just killed it.
He's so good. Again, the sound was not great for him. Yeah, he
Nope.
was the first act that came on, and the sound for him was not great. He's playing his pedal steel thing. He had another guitarist with him who was playing a beautiful Sir, looked like a
Yep. Nice
like
telly.
a Telly Deluxe with the humbuckers in it, right? That's what that was.
Yep. Yep.
A beautiful Sir. I think he was playing out of a twin, if I'm not mistaken, Dave. Not a twin, a Super.
No, a Super.
Yeah, he's playing out of a Super, and his tone, when you could actually hear it, was fantastic. And of course, like Robert Randolph just killing it on that pedal steel. Playing a pedal steel. If you don't know about him, he plays a pedal steel like a blues guitar. It's unbelievable what he does with it. It's just so damn good. So, it was a lot of fun.
Well, there you go.
It was a lot of fun.
And then,
of
of course,
Slash. Yeah, let's talk about Slash.
I mean, what can we say? What can we say about Slash? It was odd to see Slash playing different guitars, like a 335, and
yeah,
he even
and
had
the
a
Firebirds.
7-string up.
Yeah,
you have the Firebirds, but he had some kind of a.
No, he was playing a
7-string
12-string. Was it?
That was a 12 string.
12-string,
That's right.
yeah.
It wasn't a 7-string. It was a 12-string. Yeah, we thought it was a 7-string.
You know what? We have to identify that guitar. I have to go on the group.
That's right.
I should have got a picture of it. I'm sure there's pictures out there of it. I have to identify that guitar with the group, with the Facebook group about Slash signature guitar collectors. But Slash, is Slash. He came out there and just blew the doors off the place. It was just awesome. Tash Neal, who's the singer that is on, he sings on.
If you guys don't know
on
Tash Neal,
yeah,
so good.
He sings on one song on the album, but he plays guitar along with Slash on a lot of the album as well. And this guy is a damn good singer and a hell of a guitar player. He was playing a gold top,
just a P90 gold top the whole night.
P90 gold top the whole night. Looked like he was playing through a pair of twins, if I wasn't mistaken. They looked tweed to me, so I think they were high-powered tweed twins that he was playing out of, and he sounded great. Slash, you can go. Actually, I think we can probably go. I think they did Tash's setup as well on the Rig Rundown that Premier Guitar did for this tour. You can go see if you're really interested in what Slash was playing, you can go see it. But what he's playing is he's playing Magnatones, but he's playing combos. He's playing like the M18. I don't know what I'm not that familiar with Magnatone, but he's not playing his signature Magnatone amps that just came out on this tour. He's playing like the clean kind of platform amps on this tour. So he had like kind of a stack of those over there, like 6 of them, and he's playing those, and they're mic'd up. I think he's playing at least 2 of them on at all times, and he's running his own board that has very basic stuff on it, like a tube screamer and an MXR chorus and all this stuff. His board, if you go check out his board, everything on that board you can like buy at Guitar Center, right? It's like it's pretty straightforward stuff. And he's controlling. And the interesting thing about, if you're a Slash nut like I am, he hasn't controlled his own pedals, stomped his own pedals with GNR or with any of his solo stuff forever and ever and ever. In this tour, he's actually has a pedal board in front of him, and he's and he's stomping the pedals and doing his own thing, which is kind of fun to watch.
He wasn't. It
Yeah.
was odd because every time he wanted to switch into something, his tech would run out, click the pedal, and walk off stage. It was weird, you know.
That was a
Just
weird.
strange.
That was a weird thing.
Yeah.
No, that didn't happen, but it would have been funny if it
No.
did. But yeah, it was funny. But it was funny, like watching him do, wasn't it, Dave? Like when you never see him like look down and like click on things.
You never see him on a board.
It was so weird to watch him. We had really good seats, so we were kind of up front there. We could actually get a good look at what he was doing. Then when he was on the screen was like giant in front of us. So
It's just odd
Yeah.
to see Slash like not being that mobile around the stage.
Yeah,
it was
that
more
was
very
odd.
laid back kind of for Slash. you
yeah,
know?
very, because he's usually jumping around the stage like a maniac and running around everywhere, and he didn't do that at all. Because he wasn't even using a wireless. He had a cable into these combo amps. I mean, is this Slash that we know? I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
But,
What happened to Slash?
But he played, like Dave said, he played a couple of 335s. He had the kind of signature one that just came out, which is supposed to be like a 64 or something. And that's not the one he's playing on the tour. He's playing the custom shop one that they made for him that you can go and buy, which are probably sold out, but they offered them up they were 15 grand a piece. We talked about him on the pod at one point. He was playing
Yeah,
that.
we both bought
He
one.
was playing a cool, yeah, we both bought one. He's playing that. He was playing a really cool black 335 with black
Yep.
pickups in it as well. So that was kind of a cool look, like a blacked out 335. Played a couple of really killer looking Firebirds, just really killer looking. And it wasn't his signature Firebird that he did like 5 or 6 years or so ago, that kind of like faded white and whitish black one that they did with him. It wasn't that one. It was totally other ones with the vibrolas on them. Just awesome. Just like look like regular kind of probably custom shop Firebird 5s is what it looked like to me. But kicking ass. I mean, just awesome stuff. The whole band
Kicking
was
ass
great.
and taking names as Slash does.
Yeah, I mean the drummer. I don't know what the drummer's name was. We can look it up. The drummer was particularly amazing, playing with
Yeah.
Slash. Yeah, just real good. And
Yeah,
like you
everybody.
said,
I mean, he has like
everybody.
the there's it's kind of like the opposite of the who's who band for him, right? Like we really don't know any of these guys, but they were all at the top of their game. you know, every single one.
so
of them.
good. Just the whole thing was so good.
Bassist was incredible. The drummer, like Matt said, the drummer was incredible. You know, Tash
Yeah.
was just like tearing it up, and
Yeah,
I mean, they were just.
it was
killing
fun. It was a fun show. It was.
I don't know
a really
who
fun
was.
show.
I don't know who the guy was on keys, but he had a great. He was singing. He sang.
He
a
was
lot
si-
of the
he
tunes.
sang a bunch of
was
the
great
tunes, too.
voice.
Yeah.
Great, like throaty kind of voice. But there you go.
Um,
Yeah, Slash crushed it.
Slash doesn't disappoint. He just doesn't.
No.
There you go. So,
All right. Well,
but
we should
Dave
get
actually,
into some.
Dave was saying one more point on Slash. Dave was saying like, "Oh, I saw a video where he wasn't wearing the top hat." I'm like, "What? That's not true." Sure enough, he had the top hat on the whole time.
He did, but he did. I did see a video where he did not have it on, and I was.
Yeah,
just
I
odd,
you know what? I
just-
think I saw the video too. Anyway, but he, in case you guys are wondering, he still had that.
Yeah,
Top hat.
he still has the top hat.
All right, yeah, go ahead,
but
Dave.
anyway,
Let's
all right.
move on.
We are going to get into some. There's a couple things that I had put on this list. Maybe we should leave some of this stuff for Patreon. But of course, the big
Yeah,
news
we got to
of the
talk about
last
at
couple
least one
weeks
big
was
news.
the germanium tumnus. That
Germanium!
absolutely broke. Germanium broke the freaking internet. And then some. Of course, we're talking about the Wampler tumnus, the germanium version. You know, and I think
The deluxe,
I
though,
don't-
the
I-
Tumnus
the
deluxe.
deluxe. Sorry,
'cause
the
they
Tumnus
already
deluxe.
put out
they
the
already put out
germanium
the
Tumnus, yeah.
germanium. Yeah.
the regular germanium.
And of course,
deluxe.
obviously, very limited pedal. I think they only how many did they make? 2,500.
They made a lot, but they sold out.
a lot, but it's still limited.
Yeah,
And you know, on this thing got pre-released. You know, we were able to get on early. If you were on the mailing list, you can get one early. But I don't think, and people were up in arms because the site kept going down, and they just couldn't handle the traffic, and it had nothing to do with anything they could have prevented.
Yeah.
You know.
yeah.
You can go listen to the Chasing Tone podcast where they explain all this stuff.
Yeah.
It was just like a very, you know, they couldn't have, there's nothing they could have done ahead of time to kind of prep for this and fix the problems that they had. And the fact that people were kind of getting, dude, guys, just relax. It's a pedal.
Yeah, it's a
guys.
pedal,
I know everybody's
guys.
excited about this.
So it
When you
sounded
see
to
posts
me.
on Facebook,
Yeah.
like, you know, laying into Brian and Richard and all that, they're doing the best they can out there, and it's just a pedal, a
It's
great pedal.
a great pedal. It sounded to me like what was going on was there was some kind of weird cyber nefarious things happening around this.
Well, there was that. Yes.
Is what Richard kind of explained. He didn't really go into detail about it on the podcast, but basically it sounds like they were, as part of this release, there was people that were deploying bots or whatever,
Yeah.
because like it just didn't seem possible that much traffic would be generated by a bunch of pedal nerds. It seemed like there was some, craziness happening behind the scenes to overload the website kind of purposely. And then of course the actual traffic that happened didn't help it either. But
Right.
I don't know
People
exactly.
just kept refreshing the page.
Yeah,
and
I don't know exactly what happened. I don't want to.
People were buying multiple pedals.
Yeah,
they're trying to flip that. And can we talk about that too? Is the
talk about that.
The reverb. So of course, when things like this come out, people are going to buy them with the intent of flipping for an astronomical price because of it's a limited release. And that didn't disappoint. These things hit reverb within a few hours.
Oh
yeah, like $100,000, $50,000 prices have finally come back down to earth. But I mean, really.
But what's crazy is this pedal's about $300. They're seem to be consistently selling on Reverb now for like $600, between $500 and $600.
Yeah,
right. So
double,
that's kind of crazy, right? It's kind of crazy. But here's the thing: Dave and I both have one now, and we've had a little time to play them. It's a great pedal. It's an amazing pedal.
Unbelievable.
There's something going on with it where it just sounds so good. Maybe it's their germanium. Must be. Who knows? It sounds good. Is it like the greatest thing ever? Like, I mean, in the end, it's a Klon circuit. So it's like, it's not going to be like this revolutionary crazy thing, and it's not going to sound drastically different from a Tumnus.
No, but it does. I think
drastically different. You think?
Well, define drastically, because I think it's definitely this thing. First of all, there's a lot of this thing there's a lot on board. Put it that way. You can do a lot with this thing.
Yeah.
Lots of stuff to play around with, but it's just edgier. It just has a different tone to it. It punches differently.
That's all true.
You can really, it's all true. You can really, the way you can kind of dial this thing in, it has a very wide range of tones within that Klon kind of, realm, of course.
Yeah. But that's what Wampler does, right? All of his pedals are like that. And, I mean, this is what I'm getting at. Would I pay twice as much for it on Reverb? No, I don't think it's kind of crazy special enough to do that. I would, what I would do is just wait a little bit on it. Hopefully they come down as more people decide to move them on as like the honeymoon thing goes. And they're probably never going to come down to be like the retail price, but maybe they come down $100 or so. So if you really want one, but they are great. I'm not going to sell mine anytime soon because I love Klon circuits and I kind of have to have them all. And I missed out on the original.
I agree.
The original Germanium Tumnus. And so the fact that I could get it on the deluxe, I'm psyched about. And it's a great pedal. It is. You can see why the hype is generated here. It really is a great pedal, like Dave said. But yeah, so we were lucky enough to grab one. It's fun, but yeah, it definitely caused a major storm in the pedal world, and some people were very unkind.
Some people, a lot of people were very unkind, ridiculously. But this is, it's just, I understand it. It's hype. We all fall into this hype a lot of times.
We do.
With gear. You get super excited. This is what builders want you to get excited about, and it works. The hype train works for a lot of this stuff. But I just think that I do think this thing, if you do own an original Tumnus or a Tumnus Deluxe like I do, I think this definitely has a spot on your board along with it.
Oh yeah.
I've had a lot of fun kind of blending the two together and coming up with some interesting tones. And it's just a great, I don't know what else I can say about it. It's just a great pedal.
It's a great pedal. It's a great Klon
three-band EQ. It's got the hot switch, so you can pump that up for a little bit hotter gain. it's got the it's supposedly the magic diodes, right? These
They are
mythical
magical.
magic diodes.
They're magical
They are
diodes. Magical diode. Although, however, I know Analog Man is willing to put germanium diodes into your pedal if you send him. If you could literally buy a Tumnus Deluxe and send it to Analog Man, and he'll put germanium diodes in. That's the word on the street,
Right.
So actually,
Yep.
I think he put that word on the street. So there you go. So
There you go.
if you really want one of these, and you don't want to pay $600 or whatever they're going for on Reverb, consider that it's germanium. Or
Yep.
go buy a germanium pedal from Copper Sound, because his Kingpin is germanium as well.
The Kingpin is germanium.
It's a great drive
killer
pedal.
sounding.
Right. So, and there's other germanium clones out there as well. If I'm not mistaken, I think what is it? I think it's Mythos has like a store exclusive germanium Molyneux. I can never say it. Molyneux.
Yeah. We have to practice this.
They have a germanium Molyneux that they do with some shop. I want to say it's out of like Kansas City or something. But when I was on their website, like, you can go and buy one of these things. They're making them. So, and I think I might have to buy one.
I see the hype train. You just hyped it for yourself.
Well, I'm one of these people that I'm like, yeah, I kind of need to have all the not all the germanium. I need to have all the clones. And I don't even have that many. For someone that's as obsessed with it as that circuit, I have what was it 4 now with the new germanium. Yeah. Let's see, 1, 2.
I think so.
Well, I got 4 here, and then I got 1 on and then I got the original Tumnus on my gigging board. So I only got 5. I gotta get more.
Yeah, see, you like a clone. You like yourself a good clone. You like yourself a good clone.
Yeah, I do. I love the clones circuit. So anyway,
all right. Well, anyways, we kind of wrap up for time. We're going to take this thing over to Patreon. We got some other gear to talk about and other fun little things. And if you want to support the show and go check out the Patreon, head over to patreon.com/GuitarDadsPodcast and hook yourself up with one of the tiers, and you get some bonus content, people. Bonus. And
bonus.
Of course, you know where to find us at Guitar Dads. Germanium at Guitar Dads Podcast on Instagram, X, Threads, on YouTube. You can find us. If you want to watch this crazy podcast, you can do that. But we love you guys. Thank you so much for the support and listening. And if you're new, like I said, check us out next week. We got some more fun stuff coming your way. Is that it? Did I get everything?
That's it, everybody.
All right. Well, that was this week's Guitar Dads Podcast.
That's it. Keep rock alive.